Arsenal just keep rolling on. We're now 4 points clear of second place and then 6 points clear of our nearest rivals. We're going to review the game against Crystal Palace on the weekend, discuss the lineups and the incidents. We're then going to review our Carabao Cup game on Wednesday as Arsenal beat Brighton 2-0. How did a much rotated team fare? And what were the takeaways from our win? We're then going to look ahead to this weekend's fixture as we make the long journey to Turf Moor to face Burnley. How do we keep our run going? And how will injuries affect Mikel's selection? We're then going to discuss the big topic that's been going around the media, which is Arsenal's defence, which has not conceded a goal in the whole month of October. Currently on 3 goals conceded, does this defence have the makings to be one of the great defences in the Premier League history? We're then going to discuss Max Dowman, who made his full debut, aged just 15 years and 235 days. With a schoolboy contract agreed and professional terms in the offing, how good can the young star become? Finally, the predictor game is back as we look back at our last week's predictions and then take a look at this week's games. Oof, that's a lot to cover on episode 25 of Red Lines and Half Spaces. Welcome to episode 25 of Red Lines Half Spaces. Oh, we've been away for a little bit. Unfortunately, we've had family clashes and all this kind of stuff, so we haven't been able to do our usual schedule of recording a post-match review. But we're here now, and we have the returning hero, Joseph. How are you doing, my friend? I mean, Wayne was a very able stand-in, I will say. I considered thinking about letting you go and giving him your job, but I think he's already taken. So I'm stuck with you.
Unbelievable.
Oh, he did it again.
That was entirely your fault.
I told Joe just before we went online, do not swear.
That was entirely your fault. You was waving a red flag to a ball there, Yen, by insulting me, and I'm sorry. You got the better of me.
All right. How you doing anyway, Joe? How's...
I'm very well, mate. It's been a while. I feel like I think the Atletico preview was the last time I was on. That
was the last one. Then obviously we had the Crystal Palace preview.
Yeah, we haven't conceded a goal in all that time. We've racked up some goals. I mean, it's all
maybe you should stay away more often. You know, just keep away.
Maybe I should just stay off this podcast. Maybe you should employ Wayne, and I'll go and sit somewhere else.
No, we miss you, Joe. It would be the same without you.
No, do you know what, mate? I've actually missed doing it. To be fair, like I've actually missed doing this because it's a nice little thing we've got going on here. Talk about the Arsenal. And why would you want to talk about the Arsenal at the moment? Everything's going well. Hate watches every weekend at the moment are brilliant. Hate watches during the midweek are even brilliant as well. So no, it's a great time to be an Arsenal fan, mate. Obviously I've been it's not just sort of family stuff. I've been really busy with work as well. Mm. But life just, it doesn't matter how busy work is. It doesn't matter what's going on at home. If Arsenal are winning, everything just flows really easily. So it
does, doesn't it? Because you can watch content as well, and it's not, as you said, it's not just our content; it's hate watch content as well because it's so deliciously. It's really bad of us as people, but we do like to watch downfalls, don't we? Just because
not being funny, mate. We were Banter FC for years. Like people feasted upon the Arsenal misery, so it's only right that we have our turn at feasting. The thing is, everyone feasted upon Arsenal misery. Everyone was going to the restaurant and ordering the same thing. We're going into the restaurant and we've got the pick of the buffet at the moment. We can sort of take a little bits of everywhere. So, no, it's nice, mate.
Because everyone else is downfalling so massively.
It's been beautiful, mate. And I'll tell you, I stayed at St. George's Park, you know, the England HQ thing?
Yes.
Stayed there Sunday night, and that is a very impressive setup there. So
it should be for the money that was paid for it. My
God,
it's
a very impressive place, mate. To be fair,
whose room did you get? Did you get Harry Kane's, or did you go for Declan Rice? Maybe is it?
No, I don't think I was anywhere near any of them, mate. But
oh dear.
No, with the England women's team were there because they was obviously playing Australia on the Monday.
Of course.
So I saw a few of them dotted about. So that was pretty cool. But no, it's It's been all right, mate. It's not been a bad couple
You've
of weeks.
been enjoying yourself since you've gone walkabout, isn't it?
It's not all bad news all the time.
Okay. Well, very glad to have you back, Joe. Really, we missed you. Obviously, a lot has happened, as you just mentioned. We are still top of the Premier League, so let's cover that off, and then we will get to our Carabao Cup action. So, Joe, last game in the Premier League, Crystal Palace at home at the Emirates. We knew this was going to be a very, very tough game. 1-0 to the Arsenal. Good scoreline as always. But Joe, we thought this, when myself and Wayne did the preview, we had a lot of respect for Crystal Palace. We knew this was not going to be an easy game, and it definitely turned out to be that way. It was, for me, probably the hardest test of the season in terms of a team that really took it to us and created very good chances, put some pressure. I wouldn't say, sorry, they didn't create chances, because we'll talk about that stat in a minute, but they caused us problems, didn't they, Joe? How did you feel about the Crystal Palace game overall? We'll go into the lineup and all that usual stuff in a second.
What are we saying? Sort of a review of the game, or how I was feeling before we went into it? Yeah, sorry.
Review of the game overall, as in the 1-0 result. How you felt about that, and the game as a whole.
Yeah, do you know what, mate? Weirdly, I would say I've had this weird sort of change in my mindset as I've kind of got a bit older. Watching Arsenal before, I always wanted to see amazing football. I always wanted to see loads of goals. I always wanted to see just exciting stuff. And obviously in an ideal world, that's what we all want.
Yeah.
But I feel like now I don't care anymore about performances. I don't care if we play well, as long as we win. So if we just won every game 1-0 for the rest of the season, and it was just an absolute snooze fest, and every game was a corner, I wouldn't care less, genuinely. I just don't care. All that matters to me now is winning. And Palace are a good side. They're having a good season. Oliver Glasner, I think, has done really well there. I think he's a really good manager. Obviously, they've been getting some very good results of late, which I'm sure we'll go into later. So this was never going to be an easy game by any stretch. I know Palace obviously had the game in the Conference League. Was it on the Thursday?
Yeah, Larnaca. They had Larnaca on Thursday, which they lost 1-0.
I think that done us a favour. Because I think if they'd breezed that game, it probably would have been a bit harder. But to me, it very much came across as though Arsenal were kind of playing for the latter stages, if you like, at the Emirates. I think we kind of thought that we'd have the legs on them eventually, so we didn't really go gung-ho early on. I feel like we just kind of just tried to sort of keep the ball, keep Palace kind of moving, to sort of tire them out. And then I think we'd sort of midway through the second half was when we'd expect to kind of step on the gas and sort of blow them away a little bit. Obviously didn't really turn out like that. I think Eze took his goal brilliantly. It was inevitable that his first league goal was going to come at Palace, wasn't it? So, he took that brilliantly. I thought overall it was a good performance. I thought it was just a solid kind of performance. We did really give Palace a lot. There was a few sort of moments in the first half when they broke on us and they looked sort of semi-dangerous.
Well, they got a shot on goal, which is disastrous. This is, come on, people. And it was the Eddie Nketiah header, which went nowhere.
Been judged a shot on goal, by the way. I don't understand how that's happened.
I'm aggrieved, because if there was a legitimate shot, from 25 yards out, Rasper and all that, I'm fine with that. But it was an Eddie Nketiah innocuous header that Raya literally just clasped it to his hands because it was so central. And that counted as a shot on target. Our record is over. It's all over. The season's over. End the stream now, Dave, because this is, come on. We haven't conceded a shot on target for how many hours? And then it was an Eddie.
Look how far we've come, Yem, that we've got the about conceding a shot on target when it wasn't so many years ago. I think we played Watford at home and conceded 34 shots in a game.
Look, standards are different now, Joe. I expect my team not to concede any shots on goal and to get a clean sheet as well.
Mate,
this is the standard.
What the defence are doing is, what the team are doing as a whole defensively is a joke at the moment. It is so good. And I think the biggest testament you can pay to us is that people are talking about that Chelsea record, because for me, I sort of similar to what Wayne said in the preview that you guys done. I thought that Chelsea record would kind of be like the Invincible record, and it'd be one of them things that just no one ever really kind of gets near to. So the fact that people are talking about that, I think it speaks volumes of how good the defence is.
Well, hold your thoughts on that, because we're going to come to it, because it obviously is a talking point, as you said, Joe.
Okay.
But let's talk about the lineup quickly. We're going to try and rattle through because there's a lot to cover in this episode. So it was pretty much as expected, I think, with this one. We reverted pretty much back to our Premier League team, which was David Raya in goal, back four, Calafiori, Gabriel, Saliba, Timber, Declan Rice, Zubamendi, Trossard, Eze, Saka, and Gyökeres. There was a change, obviously, with William Saliba coming off at half-time for Christian Mosquera. But, Joe, this was pretty much the standard lineup that I think we all thought was going to happen, wasn't it? I mean, he's got a Premier League team, really, hasn't he, that he likes to play generally. Obviously, it'll be interesting to see when Odegaard comes back, how he slots in with Eze as well, because, and we'll talk about Eze, but this is the Premier League team, isn't it, that we will usually start with, isn't it?
Yeah, at the moment, it seems like Trossard's nailed on in there at the moment. I know that probably makes you feel quite sad, Jim, but
I've accepted.
Yeah, I mean, I think we kind of touched on this in pre-season. Now we said we've got enough players now that you could see sort of partnerships within 11. So
yeah,
if Trossard starts, Calafiori will start. If Martinelli starts, MLS will start. That kind of seems like what we're doing at the moment. And I quite like it, mate, because obviously it builds familiarity, so that if you are making changes, the players who are coming in are still familiar with each other, and so you don't see that kind of drop off if you're bringing someone in and playing with someone who they've not played with. So, no, I like it, mate. And like we always say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That 11 is playing phenomenally well, defensively, attackingly. They're doing everything they need to do at the moment. They're top of the league. So why would you change it?
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, Christian Mosquera did come in for William Saliba at about 45 minutes. We don't know the extent of the injury yet. Arteta hasn't really made any statements as to how long it's going to be, but we hope it's not too long. But Mosquera slotted in really effective. I mean, he has done it all season, hasn't he? Apart from the Newcastle game, I've not seen him be fazed by anything thrown at him. And I thought, again, he slotted in with Gabriel, and it didn't look out of place at all, did he?
No, I don't know how we've done that, mate. We've unearthed an absolute gem there. If you'd said to any Arsenal fan sort of last season that we would bring in a defender for the following season for 16 million to be Saliba's backup, I think everyone would have been like, oh, we better hope Saliba doesn't get injured or we're going to be in a bit of trouble. But Mosquera's come in, and the biggest testament you can pay to him is that Saliba went off, obviously up against Mateta, who's a very big physical striker, a very good player.
Yeah.
And it took me a while to actually remember that Saliba had gone off, like during that second half, because Mosquera, he just fit in so seamlessly. He was brilliant. I think the only real time that anyone kind of got past him, I think it was Nketiah, ironically, that kind of got him sort of as he was turning and just got ahead of him, and then Mosquera's obviously sort of couldn't catch him up. But that was the only time he was phased. Oh, and I can't speak highly enough of him, mate. For him to come in at a young age and to fill the boots of William Saliba, who's been sort of spoken about as arguably one of the best young defenders in the world, for him to just come in and replace him and us not all be losing our minds over Saliba being injured at the moment, what more can you say? He's been fantastic.
Yeah, and obviously he played in the Brighton game, which we'll discuss in a minute as well. We'll talk about his performance there. Only one goal in it, and it had to come from Eberechi Eze against his old club. What a class finish that was. It was like a karate kick, wasn't it? Almost. It was a set piece, but obviously it wasn't a set piece goal. There is a bit of clarification that this is not a set piece goal. It came from a set piece. It's not a set piece goal. So obviously ball delivery came in. Gabriel kind of flicked it, tried to get it in, flicked out, and then Eze caught it sweetly almost on it was a full volley, wasn't it? We can class it as a full volley. And almost like a karate kick. The body adjustment and the technique to do that and to get it into the goal was amazing, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's fantastic, mate. The thing what I thought was the most impressive about it is that I think volleys are technically one of the most difficult things to do in the game. I think to sort of connect clean with a volley, for me, I think is one of the most difficult things to do. So that the fact alone that it was a volley was very impressive, but also the fact that Wharton, as he's turning, kind of like nudges him to like off balance him, and he's still able to keep that sort of level of control and accuracy on it. It was amazing, mate. And moment alone shows why you sign a player like Eze. People will argue and say he's not been playing his best. He's not kind of maybe hit the heights that people might have wanted him to with sort of consistency and output. But in that moment, that match-winning moment, that moment that secured us 3 points, he stepped up. And that's what we've missed, mate, for so long. The players that in those moments can make the difference. Because I don't think there's another player in the squad who would have scored from that moment. I think there would have been a lot of people sort of going for it and it's going over the bar. People might have tried to recycle it. But Eze just jumped on all over it, slapped it into the corner with just sort of brilliant technique. And like I said, that's why you have to get these players in the end, because they make the difference in the big moments. And that 3 points could prove to be absolutely massive.
Well, the thing is that Eze has, look, I think we all know Eze is still learning about Arsenal and how we play. It's a different level. You're coming up against low blocks every week and it's much more touches on the ball. But his actual stats bear out really well. So he's got 2 assists, 1 goal already in the Premier League. He's our highest chance creator. I mean, again, that's what you want from him, isn't it? Most take-ons, I think, again, he's still learning, but his quality absolutely shines in terms of he's a moments player. I think we all acknowledge that. But he's, to provide 2 assists, a goal, and still look really well balanced within the Arsenal team in the Premier League, I think is a testament to him. And I think he's going to get better as he understands it. Much like Declan Rice, as we keep saying, Declan, when he came in, very good player, looked good, but didn't look as good as he does now, where he's, an absolute baller in midfield. Eze, when he understands the system and where he locks down a position, because I think we understand, look, where he plays right now in the number 8 position is not where he's going to be long term. That is Martin Odegaard's position, but he can play there. It is most likely he will play from the left wing into almost a number 8 position. But I think he's done really well. He does fade it in some games, but I thought against Palace and Brighton, he looked very good, and he obviously got us the goal that separated the teams at Crystal Palace, Joe.
Yeah, the thing is as well, like where I sit at the Emirates, a lot of people kind of moan and groan when Eze sort of gave the ball away a few times against Palace. But the thing is for me, and we kind of touched on this when we spoke about Odegaard in pre-season, is that I don't want my sort of attacking midfielder to have a high pass percentage. If he's coming off the pitch with like a 90% plus pass completion rate, for me, you've not been creative enough because you're not trying to pick locks. He's going to give the ball away. There's going to be moments where the ball's turned over because he's trying things. He's trying to pick gaps, and I love that. That's exactly what I want, and that's one of the things I think we criticised Odegaard for, is that sort of during that kind of spell when he wasn't at his best, a lot of what he was doing was very safe. There was a lot of kind of passes to feet, and everyone was kind of saying, "Oh, he's got great pass completion stats," but I don't want him to have that if you're playing that kind of forward sort of number 10 role. So. No, I've been really happy with Eze since he started. Would I like him to have scored more goals? Of course we would, because we'd all love to jump all over Eze slapping in bangers from 25 yards. That's what we would all love. But I think it's been a really solid start from him. And I think you've made a really good point, mate, in that he's coming up against low blocks every single game. He wouldn't have ever faced that at Palace. So it's going to take time to kind of bed in and work out how he maximises his ability in such limited space when he's got so many players in front of him. But he's too good a player not to work it out, mate. And he'll, like we said, he's already contributing with sort of goals and assists. And the more minutes he plays in his team, the more I think his productivity will go up and the more confidence he'll get from it.
Well, even yesterday, I thought actually yesterday in the Brighton game, which we will touch upon, he played from the left, which was the position we think he's going to play in eventually. And he looked very good. Again, he's got that silkiness. He's got the touch. He's got the movement that he drives at players so readily and beats them so willing. It's something that we don't have regularly. Martinelli is not that player. We would like him to be, but he isn't. Trossard does it in fits and spells, but Eze just seems to glide past players quite easily. Something different from Bukayo Saka. Bukayo Saka, as we said, is a very good, efficient dribbler, but Eze seems to make it almost effortless when he goes past his players. And once he starts figuring out those lock picking techniques, as we've talked about, much like Robert Pires, I keep thinking back to Robert Pires when he came to Arsenal. It took a year almost for him, because obviously he came from a different league. But for Eze as well, as we talked about, he's playing in a different system, a different way of thinking. But he's too good a player for me to say, oh, that's it, he's done. I see too much from him to say, look, he's going to be a threat. And he's something different, as you said, Joe, within the squad that we're going to need him. And we've needed him, actually. Can you imagine in the last couple of years, if Ødegaard was gone, what would we have done? That's it. We've tried everything from a Trossard in midfield, different players in midfield, and it hasn't worked. This one has, and we've kept going. Not only because, as you said, Joe, he tries things, but he's also got the defensive backing behind him to try those things and be comfortable in that. I've lost the ball. Okay, I'm going to track back, but I've got a decent defensive unit behind me that's going to get the ball back or not make it as difficult. I'm not necessarily doing it, giving the ball away and we're the opposition up the field, is it?
Yeah, the thing is, another point, is that he's played in 3 different positions so far for us in this kind of short spell that we've had. He's obviously played off of the left, where he's done really well, played as the left 8 in a few games, and he's played as sort of like the right 8 since Martin Ødegaard's come out the side. So he's not had any real consistency in a position. We've seen him for a couple of games from the left, and we've seen him from a couple of games in the middle, and there was another couple of games where he's moved a bit further over. So again, that contributes. When you come into a new side, you want to kind of lock down a position, if you like, so that you can begin to bed yourself in and build your relationships and whatnot. So the fact he's played in 2 or 3 different positions in the 10 or so games that we've had so far, again, it's going to make his kind of integration into the side a bit slower because he's constantly playing in a new kind of role and trying to learn that role. So, yeah, I don't think anyone's worried about him. And I think the fact that some people say, maybe he's not been kind of at his best yet, but he's still putting up them numbers, he's only going to get better, mate, I think. And I'm here for it. I can't wait to see the difference he makes once he is confident and he's sort of familiar with this team and just what he's going to be able to do for this team this season. I think he's going to be a really big part going forwards.
Yeah, I agree. And I think actually it's going to happen this season. I think he's already started. I think he's getting better and better each game I see him. And obviously he delivered a match-winning goal on the weekend. But Joe, obviously we won 1-0 and we have to talk about our rivals. And we'll do the predictors game to go into the full set of results. But obviously the fixtures on the weekend were Aston Villa versus Man City. And Villa winning 1-0 with a Matty Cash left-footer rasper from a corner. Mm-hmm. And then Liverpool playing Brentford, which was a very interesting game because we thought this was it. Liverpool are gonna, beat Brentford and it's going to be back to normal service. However, Brentford, I thought, were actually the better team in this one. And I think Liverpool got lucky with their goals. Joe, let's talk about the Man City one because it's an easier one. I think Man City just came up against a very good Villa defence who were on their game at this point, and they scored, but obviously Erling Haaland was ruled offside. But this is one of those occasions where I think Villa's doggedness came through and Man City just bore the brunt of it. And obviously they lost 3 points, which is great for us, isn't it, Joe?
Yeah, because I think City with Haaland have been looking quite menacing. I think the rest of their team, you could maybe say there's questions, but I'd sort of compare it to spells we went through when we had Thierry Henry, is when you just thought, it doesn't really matter what's going on in this game. As long as Arsenal aren't 3-0 down, Thierry Henry could win this game by himself. And I think Erling Haaland's got that same kind of aura about him, is that City, they won't be too bothered about playing well because they know if it's 0-0, 1-0, whatever it might be, as long as you've got Haaland in that team, you're more than capable of getting 3 goals a game. So I think you have to say fair play to Villa because they didn't have the best start to the season, but they've kind of they've had a good sort of few results. And I think that's kind of 3 wins on the bounce for them, maybe in the league. But no, just brilliant result for us, mate. Like I said at the top, it was another great hate watch weekend. We got what we needed, and yeah, and then, City struggling, glorious.
That was the hors d'oeuvre. Then we got to the aperitif. The main course obviously came on Saturday night. We ate before we had the hors d'oeuvres, and the Saturday night 8:00 fixture, which every Arsenal fan was watching to see if the hate watch continues. And my word, did it continue, because Liverpool went down to Brentford at the G-Tech, 3-2. And to be honest, it was a deserved victory for Brentford. It wasn't a case that Liverpool battered them. They had a lot of possession, but they didn't create much. I thought actually Brentford were the more menacing in the game, and they deserved the victory. It was touch and go at the end, naturally, because Liverpool threw everything forward. But Arne Slot, as usual, does his usual thing where he throws every attacker on in the hope that it will work, and it doesn't. And, it was, obviously there was a penalty from Virgil van Dijk, which there's some debate over, but I thought it was a penalty. Again, Virgil van Dijk does get away with a lot, I think, in games that is not noticed. But I absolutely thought Brentford deserved it. They created the better chances and were the more menacing. What did you think, Joe?
Yeah, I didn't see the whole game. I kind of was sort of watching it on my phone as I was doing some bits and I was out. But again, it's another surprise result. You keep sort of expecting Liverpool to kind of win these games because obviously what they've done last year, and you think, okay, Liverpool, very good side. They're going to turn it around eventually. But the Elves just keep coming at the moment. And again, I hate to be that guy, but I can't help but feel the officials did their utmost to give Liverpool as much time as possible to get back in that game as they could.
Oh my word! I mean, did they? How many was it? 8 minutes? Was it 8 minutes at the end?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the first half, they added on a whole load of extra time, and then at the end of the game, it was almost like they said, yeah, "Lads, just keep playing until Liverpool get a goal, and then we'll call it a draw." But no, brilliant result for Brentford again. Really good performance from them, from what I saw. And yeah, it's like I said in the last one, mate. It's brilliant to see Liverpool finally having that kind of that run that everyone has. Last year they didn't have it. Last year they were very sort of fortunate. Everything went for them. They got no injuries, and they just kind of cruised along as everyone else kind of dropped points. But this year, so far, is kind of caught up with them a bit because they're getting injuries now. It almost seems like they get an injury a game at the moment, which was something that Arsenal have obviously experienced last year and kind of gone into this year and had sort of same issues. And then they're not getting the rub of the green at the moment. And when you don't have those things, it's very hard to push on and get away from the pack like they did last year. So no, it's good. It's just, it was about time Liverpool didn't have the rub of the green and some things went against them. And at the moment, that's what's happening to them. And long may it continue, because as long as it continues, we can just try and keep racking up the wins, building the pressure. And that's what we need to do, because that's what Liverpool done to us last year.
Yeah, and obviously Arne Slot is started to lose it a little bit in terms of the pressure is telling, because he's
starting to sound very much like Eric Ten Hag to me. It's a similar sort of vibe.
He's got a similar vibe.
Dutch accent.
Just put a goatee on him and you're like, my God, it's like I'm looking in a mirror. But I think Liverpool will be back. Look, I think they're too quality a squad to be back, but they have. I think there are concerns about the balance of the team, which we talked about. But we'll talk about their other result in a few minutes. But let's go on to the Carabao Cup. We played last night, as we record this on a Thursday night. We played Brighton last night at the Emirates and won 2-0. A very rotated squad, which, to be honest, I expected, but I didn't expect the amount of rotation that we got, Joe. So let's just look into the lineup that we had. Kepa Arrizabalaga, I think was expected. Miles Lewis-Skelly, Pierre Nkapie making his full Arsenal debut, Christian Mosquera and Ben White. Christian Norgard, Mikel Merino in the midfield, Eberechi Eze starting from the left, Ethan Nwaneri in the number 8 position, Max Dowman making his full debut on the right-hand side, and then El Anous, who started... Is it El Anous? I can't get his name quite right. Harriman Andre Anous. Let me get it correct.
Anous, there you go.
Starting his first, making his debut for Arsenal. I think he had a few bench appearances, but never came on. So very, very big night for the youngster and his family. So congratulations to them. Joe? Wow, what a rotated lineup. Eze was the only player who could make it from the Premier League game at the weekend. How did you feel about that lineup? I mean, for me, I was really glad to see that back four. That's the back four I want to see, because that's our reserve back four, effectively. And that's a top quality back four, if you look at it. So how did you feel about the back four and the team overall?
Mate, I was absolutely delighted to see that 11, to be honest. given the games we've got coming up, away at Burnley, away to Slavia Prague, and then away to Sunderland, I didn't want to see anyone sort of the first team, if you like, near the starting 11 this game. I appreciate that there might have been one or two. Eze was obviously that man, which is fine because obviously he's bedding his way into the team. Not a problem with that. But as for the rest of them, mate, I was delighted because we've got the depth to be able to do this now. We was able to put out 10 different players and still put in a high level performance against a sort of a solid Premier League team. Like you said, Kepa was always going to come in. The back four is the back four I wanted to see. Mosquera and Hincapié, that partnership in the middle, I can see that sort of becoming quite a regular feature for us. Great to see Ben White back on the pitch getting some minutes after obviously his injuries. MLS in the side, obviously we all wanted to see that. And then I thought Marino was brilliant yesterday. I thought he had a really good game with the armband. I thought Norgard obviously played as well in that sort of defensive role and he was brilliant. And then the young boys, Dowman, Harriman and Noose, I thought he was brilliant, to be fair, because I think when you're a young player coming into a side, you almost want to be kind of like a winger or a wing back because you've got more space. There's not as much pressure on you because you're kind of at the side of the pitch. You're not going to have too much going on. I think the hardest position to play as a young player coming into a side is the goalkeeper or a centre forward. So for me, I thought Harriman Noose was absolutely brilliant, mate. I thought he had such a good game. And there's a few moments where he had some really good link-up play that looked like sort of an experienced player, like well beyond kind of the level he's at. So he was brilliant. And I thought he played so well. I wouldn't be averse to seeing him on the bench coming on for Gyökeres in a few games. That sort of like to get some more minutes, like 20, 25 minutes at the end of games if we're ahead or anything like that. And I was really impressed with him, mate. I know everyone else kind of talk about your Dowmans and your Wanieris and MLS and all that, but considering it's his first game against experienced Premier League defenders, big shout out to Harriman and Noose. I thought he had a really good game.
Yeah, I thought so too. I thought to make your first start when you haven't had any minutes off the bench is and to put in a good performance where you didn't look out of place, you weren't going missing was a testament to him and the training that he's had. But if we look at it, Joe, Brighton put out a very strong team. They had some of the mix of their first team and some of their reserves like Ruter, Kadioglu, Van Hecke, Baleba, Gomez, and then they threw on the rest of their first team at the half time, pretty much half time. I thought, look, there were some shaky moments, and Brighton should have actually scored because there was a couple of 1-on-1s, which I thought Simicas, my God, he should have had at least one. But it didn't happen that way, and we got goals through Ethan Wanieri, and then through who was the second one?
Bukayo Saka.
Bukayo Saka, yes, off a Harriman and Noose shot, which rebounded and fell kindly for Bukayo Saka. I thought this was a really good run out for those reserve players. It's a bad word, reserve players. The first teamers who haven't got as many minutes. Get Pierre Hincapié getting some minutes in his legs. I thought he looked really good in that left centre back role. He didn't do anything wrong. Mosquera as well, continued that really good form. MLS looked good. I think he got shoved off the ball a few times by Ruter, but did well. Ben White, as you said, looking good again when he came back, and Norgard getting some minutes in his legs as well, looked really good. Marino, Ethan Wanieri obviously getting the goal. Looked a little rusty in the first half, making some misplaced passes, but in the second half, I thought he looked really good. Dowman, very lively, made things happen. Eze, probably not as good as what he can be, but he still made things happen. And I just think that's probably, obviously, he played at the weekend. He's the one who's been starting and he played for the 90 minutes effectively. And then, as you said, Harriman and Noose playing up front. But again, 2-0, Brighton gave as good as they got. We expect that. But again, we're now through to the quarterfinals, and it's another step forward, isn't it, for this squad effectively? Because again, as we said, it gets minutes in the legs, which we need now into this period. Because I'm expecting as well, Joe, Burnley, I expect the full first team apart from our injuries maybe. So maybe Mosquera will come in for William Saliba. But From the other team news, it sounds like Calafiori and Rice are okay.
Mm.
But Sparta Prague is the one I look at and I go, Nkapie, Kepa, Ben White, those Ithwanieri, Marino, those guys should be starting that Sparta Prague game because, again, no disrespect to Sparta Prague, but you would expect some rotation there, wouldn't you? So this period where we've been able to get some minutes in the legs of these players is crucial, isn't it, Joe?
Yes, mate, definitely. I think like we said, we've got three away games coming up. So we needed to sort of see some good rotation. And those players who played last night, I think a lot of them, like you said, will be in line for the Slavia Prague game next week. So for them to get some minutes yesterday, I think was really important. For them to all get good minutes as well. There's no kind of 10, 15-minute cameos. All them players got good sort of hour, 70 minutes in the legs, which is really good. We've spoken about him so much this season, but we have to give a shout out for Timber for that run for the second goal, where he just carried that ball, looked quick, powerful, lovely little slid through ball as well. And I was praying that Harriman Noose would just dink that over the keeper as he came out, but
I think it was too much. It was too much deer in the headlights, but he gave a good. He got a shot off at least.
Yeah, mate. He's a really intelligent little run he made as well. Curved it really nicely. Sort of stepped on side. So no, really good. But yeah, in terms of the squad, mate, like we said, really important to get those minutes in the legs. Just nice to know that if we need to rest Gabriel, Nkapie can step in there and do a really good job. If Saliba needs to be rested, Mosquera can come in and do a good job with. It's great, mate. And the thing is, as well, for those players, I think they probably know that at this stage of the season, if you go out of the Carabao Cup, the games they're going to get are going to be limited. As long as we're in that competition, they're guaranteed sort of starting games. So for them, they probably knew if we want to play more minutes, we need to win this game, because essentially if we don't get through into the next round, where's our game time going to come from at the moment? So yeah, really important win, really good for them. And like we said, really important to get sort of those extra games so that those players can keep sort of ticking over. And when it comes to the back end of the season, everyone's in a position where they're sort of ready to go and everyone's sharp. No one's been sat on the bench for 6 months not doing anything. Everyone's going to be in a position to influence games and at the back end of the season when it really matters.
And the interesting thing is, obviously, this is not the full reserve team, if we call it that. It's a bad word to say. But you've got the likes of Kai Havertz still to come out. Noni Madueke. There's still quality that we would assume is on rotation that will fill the gaps here. So it's really exciting in terms of, look, this is, Harriman and Noose did really well yesterday. But you'd expect either Gyökeres or Kai Havertz to start up front in the next round, which is obviously we go to where we are at home in the Emirates again against Crystal Palace. Not an easy game, as we already know, just from our previous discussion. But Joe, I think it's a decent draw. Again, it's an interesting scheduling problem because, as I understand it, Crystal Palace have to play their Conference League game in the week that the Carabao Cup fixtures are going on. So we have to look at a rescheduling. And it looks like it will mean, and I saw a few journos saying that it's likely that we will have 2 days more rest to play than Crystal Palace will be coming off, that kind of schedule. So all in all, I mean, we got through and it looks like we've got a reasonably good draw for the next round. Joe, are you happy with it?
Yeah, I think so. But Arsenal never really seem to get sort of the lower level teams in this competition, do we? We always seem to draw a Premier League team. So, no, I think the big thing about it, mate, is just a home draw. I would have taken anyone playing at home. And with that 11, to see what they were able to do against Brighton, who are a good side, I think Palace could work for us because they might prioritise sort of a European game over the Arsenal game. So they might think, let's rest a few legs for sort of.
Well, they have to, don't they? I think they have to now, given the Larnaca result, don't they? They have to go for it.
So that was exactly my next point, mate. They've got to sort of have some wins now because obviously that Larnaca game was a result they weren't expecting. So that could work in our favour. But the 11 we're able to put out is still full of international players, world-class players. It would be a team that if you used to play them across a 38-game Premier League season, they'd probably be challenging for a top 4 spot, mate, to be honest. that 11 we had, maybe not a top 4, but they'd be definitely sort of putting themselves in for European places. So they're good enough to compete with these sort of sides. And obviously they'll smattering of first team players, and you never know. We could be going sort of onto a final in this competition. We shouldn't rule that out because we've got the squad depth to do it now. And what a huge boost that would be to sort of the confidence of this side if we was able to pick up the League Cup early and then really push on into the latter stage of the season. I've never been a big fan of the Carabao Cup, the League Cup. It's never really sort of bothered me winning it or not, but I understand the argument that people make when they say it can really kind of give a team a confidence boost going into the second half of the season, and we've not ever had that. So we've now got the squad that's capable of going that far in the competition and it not having a detrimental effect on sort of the player legs, if you like.
Yeah, because as I said, I mean, the players that we've got coming back, hopefully to be fit by that period, the Kai Havertzes, the Odegaards, etc., just
Jesus
add to that kind of
as well. He's
Jesus. Jesus might be January by the sounds of it, but Kai Havertz, Noni Madueke, and Odegaard should be back for that game.
Well,
so I'm hopeful that in terms of our depth options to be competitive, you say that we're going to maybe have a spattering of youth. I think we may have less. Dowman maybe. I would say that Harriman and Noose did really well. He'd probably make it to some benches, but you'd assume it would be either one of Havertz or Gyökeres to start that game. And am I disappointed with having either of those as a starter in the rotation option? No, it's like we've dreamed of for years. So look, it's really good. Our run keeps going. Quarterfinal. We want to get to Wembley. Me and you know it as well as I do, Joe. Wembley's a great day out. We've been lucky enough that we've done Wembley days together. It's been great memories, and we just want more of those, don't we? Because we've been there so many times, and it's always a great day out. So regardless of what competition, League Cup, etc., we want to win trophies, and that's an absolute priority for Mikel. We know that already.
Yeah, I mean, the FA Cup's been good to us, but the League Cup final we went to wasn't so good. So
no.
Yeah,
the less said about that one, the better.
It's about time
I don't want to talk.
sort of sorted that problem out. So maybe that's our next thing to do.
Maybe it is. But yeah. But also, obviously, other results. Let's talk about the hate watch continues. Liverpool. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Played Crystal Palace, who we're going to play at Anfield. Interesting squad selection from Arne Slot, who is coming in for criticism, playing a lot of youngsters. Not really that many first teamers, and they lost 3-0, which is a bit of a surprise, even at, given the run they're on, but at Anfield as well. Joe, that's a big one, isn't it? Because look, regardless of if it's in the League Cup, you'd expect Liverpool to make more of a go of it, wouldn't you, against the Palace side and show a bit more backbone?
Yeah, so it's obviously hard for us to kind of comment on too much because we're not Liverpool fans, so we don't really know what's kind of going on over there. But to me, it almost seemed like Slot just went, no, I'm not having this competition, and just decided to play a load of kids in it, and not to have any first team players on the bench. I found that really weird. It's as if he's gone. To me, that kind of said that those players are struggling with confidence so much. He just wanted to keep them out of the spotlight for a week and just let them have sort of just take them away from it all. So it's a weird one. I mean, Palace are a very good side. So to play your sort of, it was almost a youth team they put out, really, wasn't it? The side that Liverpool played.
Yeah.
Obviously, they don't have the depth that we do.
But they spent 400 million, Joe.
Even though they're the champions and they've spent 400 million. But
so
it's a weird one, man. I don't know I really didn't know what to make of it. I just found the team they put out a strange one. And Palace just ran all over them in the end, didn't they? Palace had sort of quite a strong 11 out, and with that Premier League experience, they just kind of walked all over Liverpool in the end.
But isn't it the case? Look, Joe, I know we're tooting the horn and we keep going back to it, but if you spend 400 million in your summer transfer window and you haven't got the depth to accommodate, this kind of 2 games a week kind of thing, you'd have to question recruitment a little bit, wouldn't you? Because obviously the big recruitment was obviously Wirtz, Isak, Ekatike. Isak is still struggling to find his way within this Liverpool squad, and it's looking quite an expensive buy. Ekatike looks like a good buy. But would you, if you're a Liverpool fan, would you start to have question marks over the recruitment strategy? Because buying 2 high-profile strikers in a season, we've done it before, and it didn't exactly work out for us that well. But it just seems like they needed more than they actually got.
Yeah, so I was just having a look at the Liverpool lineup. So the only real recognised names that I can see on there are Kirkes, Andy Robertson, Joe Gomez, McAllister, and Federico Chiesa. So they're the only players in the starting 11 that I would kind of recognise. The rest are all youth players. And then if you look
I
at their
think Endo
bench,
was in there. I think Endo was in there.
sorry, you're
as
right.
well,
Yeah,
wasn't he?
Endo was in there as well. You are right. Yeah, and then their bench didn't recognise any of the names. So it's just weird. I mean, where is the £400 million that you've spent? Where's the you're the Premier League champions? Where are all these kind of good players gone? Liverpool don't just turn into sort of a poor team overnight. So I just found it bizarre, mate. That to me just very much stunk of Slot. Sorry, that just stunk of Slot saying we're not interested in this. Like I just need to keep my players out of the spotlight, and we need to fully focus on Saturday because we are on a terrible run, and we need to address that. So yeah, to me, mate, like I said, it just stunk of chucking in the towel in that competition, basically.
Well, they've chucked it in, so they're out of the cup, and obviously we go and play Palace. We'll look forward to the quarterfinals when we get to it in December. When we are going to schedule is an interesting one, so we'll find out then. But Joe, let's move on. Let's talk defence. You touched upon it earlier, but our defence is very, very good, isn't it, at the moment? I mean, again, we've conceded no goals in the month of October. We conceded 1 shot on target in that period, which we are still aggrieved about, and we've talked about that already. But there is talk in the media and comparing them to the Chelsea team that conceded just 15 goals. How have you viewed our defence this season? Because it is, we've typically had games where we've gone up 1-0 and shut up shop, particularly, and we are, being very stingy in letting even chances be created. But that's the level you have to be at. If you're not scoring freely like Liverpool did last season, you be good defensively, and we are very good defensively. And it's not just the back, that back 5. It is all the way through the team because, as many commentators have said, this Arsenal team loves to defend, doesn't it?
Yes, mate. And I think that's the biggest reason for what we're doing is that you've got 11 players on the pitch and then 15, 16, depending how many subs come on, who are all so well drilled and so enthusiastic about not conceding goals. And I don't think I've ever known an Arsenal side have that since maybe the sort of the glory days in sort of the 90s with the likes of your Tony Adams and Martin Keown, Lee Dixon, all them kind of players. So yeah, it's like I said at the start, to be even spoken about in the same breath as that Chelsea team that only conceded 15 goals in 38 games or something ridiculous. That's the biggest sort of compliment I think you can pay to this side, that people are saying that they're capable of doing that. To be honest, I don't think we will. I don't think that Chelsea record will be touched for a long time. But the fact we're even in the conversation at this stage, we're 10 games, so a quarter of a way through the season, roughly. And we're kind of in there. We've only conceded 3 goals in the league. Like I said, one was a worldie from Szoboszlai. I can't even remember the other 2.
So the other one was Voltemada header from Gabriel.
Sorry, Newcastle away, wasn't it? Yeah.
And then the Android, obviously, the Android.
Yeah, and the inevitable Erling Haaland. So it's still ridiculous, mate. 3 goals in 9 games. And I think our expected goals against is something like 5 so far this season. So we've played 9 games. It's crazy, mate. And
but it's,
you have. I mean, you know
what's also really refreshing? Do you know what's really refreshing, Joe? It's not just the ones that we have in; it's the replacement. Mosquera came in. Did he look out of place? Pierre Nketiah, do I have any worries about him coming in? No, really, I don't actually. Ben White coming in? No. MLS coming in? No. I don't have any worries about that. I think it's that unit, that mix of defenders just looks really impressive in terms of you've got your Williams, Saliba, and Gabriel, who are the best defensive unit in the world. I don't want to hear anyone else say anything. Goals for, goals against, it's not even, it's undeniable now in the league and in Europe and the world over, actually. I don't think there is a better defensive partnership. But then you've got the depth of squad. You've got the Calafiori, who looks really good as a left back. You've got Timber, who is the best right back in the league. David Raya, best goalkeeper in the league. I'm not even hearing it at the moment. You've got your double Golden Glove winner. Not even a joke. But then behind them, you've got really good replacements and quality there. And obviously there's a doubt about William Saliba for the game this weekend. Am I overtly worried? No, because I know who's coming in. It's going to be Mosquera, and Mosquera is absolutely tearing it up right now. So, I mean, Joe, how do you feel about not just the primary defenders, but the mix of that defensive unit?
I think this is why you bring in an ideal world, this is why you have two players of high quality in every position, because what's happened is we've been able to bring in backup players, if you like, who can come in and slot into the first team without a problem. So what that does is it makes people like Timber, like Gabriel, Saliba, Calafiori, it makes them go, if I'm not at my best, I'm out of the team. And straight away, everyone's level goes up. So the first team, obviously, sort of players, if you like. So let's say our first choice defence is Timber, Calafiori, Gabriel, Saliba. They know knocking at the door of 4 very able replacements. Those able replacements, they know the level they've got to get to, and they're saying, right, we've got to reach that level to get in the side. So all it does is it raises everyone's level. And that is the best thing about it, mate, is that we've now got 8 defenders who are all pushing each other to new levels. And that's why we're only going to see that get better and better, because they want to get in the side. The players who are inside don't want to give up their spot. So everyone knows you've just got to be at your best all the time. And with that kind of, I don't think you can, there's longevity in that, to be honest. I think eventually you get players who say, look, okay, I need to be playing more minutes. But this year, we really need to capitalize on it, because we're not going to have that for a long time going forward, I don't think. I think we might get 1-2 years out of these kind of players before you might see players sort of asking to move on, or other clubs making offers and offering them more football. So I think whilst we've got them, we really need to maximise this moment, whether it's this season and the next or just this season. Really seize the moment now, because we've got 2 players in every position who are all pushing each other, who are all striving for the same goal. And we really, like I said, it's just so important that we maximise on that, because we're not going to have that forever.
Yeah, I agree. It's inevitable. But when we've got it right now, we have to keep it together, especially given the injuries we've had in the past. Look, I think Arteta has been scarred by, especially when William Saliba went down. He probably went, I'm not having that again. So he's got quality in every position. But Joe, you don't think he'll be broken then, the 15-goal record that Chelsea have?
I don't think. What do you think? I don't think so, mate, because that record is unbelievable.
How many goals? How many goals then? Give me your. Let's have a little spin. Let's have a little sweepstake here. How many goals do you think this season then they'll concede?
You've really put me on the spot here. This is the sort of thing I'd like to do some research into and see where we're at.
Go for intervals. You know, like 15 to 20, 20 to 25. Go in increments of 5. Which one do you think?
I think, genuinely, if we was to finish the season conceding 19, so an average of a goal every other game, I think that's a brilliant record, mate, to be honest. If you're only conceding 1 goal every 2 games, I think that's outstanding. So if we can be around the 20 mark, I think that is still a really good record. And that's where I'd kind of hedge my bets. I think we'll sort of finish up. What about you?
Yeah, I agree. I think 15 to 20 is probably likely. I think more towards the 20. I think the quality of the Premier League is much better than what it was. More teams are able to cause issues. You only have to look up the second place team right now is Bournemouth, and then your third place team is Sunderland. So I think the Premier League is much more competitive than what it's wild, isn't it? But yeah, I agree. I think 15 to 20. But Joe, let's move it on. we've got more things to talk about. It's a packed schedule for today's one, so we're going a little bit over. Max Dowman has signed schoolboy forms, which obviously we knew was going to be more than likely, but obviously that leads into the avenue of going professional when he turns 17. 17, yes, because he goes correct. 16 in December and 17. Very good move for the club. We knew he's an Arsenal fan anyway. We knew his dad. The family are massive Arsenal fans anyway, because as you see on the tweets, etc., they weren't going to negotiate with anyone else. But Joe, it was key to lock down what could potentially be one of the brightest prospects for Arsenal and England for a number of years, isn't it, Joe?
Yeah, and again, this is just a credit to the work Arteta's done, credit to the work, obviously, that Berta's been doing as well. That this Max Dowman, he could have gone anywhere in the world. Every club in the world would take this kid because he is just an absolutely phenomenal talent. And if he takes the trajectory that people are kind of suggesting he could do, you could be looking at one of the best players in the world. So there's not a single club in the world that wouldn't be interested in him. And I'm sure that behind the scenes, there'll be agents, that clubs will be kind of tapping into parents, and all sorts of funny business goes on, mate, at that kind of age. Like, kids I've seen it before, obviously, a long time ago when I was doing my coaching stuff. You get like kids being offering cars at like 10 years old, and parents being offering new cars and all this. And so all that would have been going on in the background. But what Arteta's done is that he's given that family and Max Dowman a clear progression pathway. He said, look, this is my plan for you. This is what we're going to do. He's broken down for him. And obviously Max Dowman and his family have seen that, and they've gone, do you know what? We're buying into that. And you have to give Arteta massive credit for that, because if he hadn't have done that, he could have been swayed. There could have been a Real Madrid could come in and say, come over to Spain, we'll pay for everything for you. Come and wear the famous white shirt. And as a young kid, why wouldn't you be excited about that? That I mean, I don't think anyone would sort of begrudge him if he did go and do that, to be honest. So for us to tie him down, again, Berta, another contract signed from another young player who's kind of committed his future to Arsenal. Just brilliant news. The brilliant news just keeps coming, mate, in terms of these contracts. Obviously, there's news now that Saka's sort of quite far down the line of signing his. Timber's now sort of being negotiated. Rice will be next. So everyone's buying into what this club's doing, mate, and it is just fantastic news for us.
Yeah, and obviously in terms of Max Dowman, the pathway is clear already. He's already made his Premier League debut. He's now made his full debut for Arsenal. If you compared him to Ethan Nwaneri's time, because Ethan Nwaneri obviously came on as a 15-year-old, and Ethan's done very well. You know, he had a number of appearances last year, but Max is ahead of it, isn't it? If you look at it comparatively, because at 15 years old, Ethan had one appearance against Brentford. Max has now had 4 or 5 pre-season. He'll get more as well. I expect against Prague, he will be in the squad at the bare minimum, and he may even get on, which would make him the young. Actually, he has been in the squad already in the Champions League, and he would be the youngest player in the Champions League at 15 years, which is crazy to think. But if you look at him against Brighton, he didn't look out of place. He was, he was causing problems. He didn't play it safe. He was taking them on. He was physically matching up. There was a point at which he was trying to hold off Jorginho Rute. Baleba, sorry. And it wasn't happening. Baleba's really strong. But for a 15-year-old to go up against, a big 22-year-old, you're like, okay, you've got something about you, because even, you can have all the skill in the world. If you can't get your elbows out, then you're not going to make it in the Premier League, really, are you?
No, mate. And like you said, I think that's one of the most impressive things about him, is that sort of physicality that he's able to bring at 15. He's able to kind of sort of take it, isn't he? He's able to kind of go shoulder to shoulder with people, and he doesn't just get thrown around. So kind of in a similar vein to what Miles Lewis-Skelly did when he first came in. He never really, I don't think he's the same sort of that kind of strength that Lewis-Skelly's got, but reminds me of that kind of similar ilk, like young player coming in, doesn't get thrown around too much. Because I remember sort of years ago, young players coming into the side and they'd just be bullied and they'd be thrown around the place, wouldn't they? Whereas these young boys who are coming into the Arsenal side at the moment, they all look like they've got a good kind of level of physicality about them, which is brilliant, because it just shows you're ready. And that's what will get you minutes. And that's why you've seen the likes of MLS, Wanyeri, Dauman. That's why they're being included in these squads, not only because of their ability, but because physically they can handle the kind of the physicality of the game and what comes with it. So yeah, really exciting for us, mate. And it's just another Hale End product that everyone's buzzing for. And we love nothing more than seeing Hale End products and kids who love the Arsenal coming through, because that's all for all of us fans. Even now we're sort of 35 plus. That's what we dreamed of when we was young, like being that age and playing for Arsenal. So to see these young kids doing it, it fills every Arsenal fan's sort of heart with joy, because you're like, there's a piece of yourself in that kid, because that's who you wanted to be, and you're just so happy to see him doing it at the Arsenal.
Yeah, so we wait to see how Max progresses, but we certainly think he's going to have more game time this season, and obviously we look forward to his development. Joe, let's preview the weekend's game. We are off on the long journey up north to Burnley, Turf Moor, cold, 3:00 kickoff. How are you feeling about this one? This is going to be I would say, Burnley, I still think, are candidates for relegation, but their form at home has been decent. I don't think they've lost, actually. They lost in the Carabao Cup third round. That was the game they lost it at home against. But they've had a very good run. Last game they beat Wolves 3-2. But in all expectation, Joe, you'd expect Arsenal to not only dominate the game here, but to win as well and get the 3 points. You're not comfortable, because I think, again, you have to respect Burnley.
Mm.
But attacking wise, they don't look as good as what other teams, some of the other promoted teams do. And then obviously defensively, that's where they're getting solidity. But Scott Parker, obviously a very defensively sound player in his day, and now defensively sound as a manager. But you're looking towards a win, Joe. Would I be wrong in saying that?
No, yeah, you're absolutely right, mate. And need to respect Burnley, because obviously Liverpool, through all their struggles this year, they went up there and only got the win thanks to that sort of stupid penalty that Hannibal gave away. So it'll be a difficult game, because we've seen that last year's champions went up there and struggled. So it won't be an easy game. I think in sort of recent years we've done quite well away at Burnley. It's a ground where we have had some success. So no, mate, I completely agree. I think you'd see that Premier League 11 again. I think that'll be sort of the side that starts with your Trossard on the left. I think the back four will come in. Maybe Mosquera will play Saliba. I guess we'll find out more once Arteta does his press conference about where he's at. But I would, like I said, I would expect us to continue the form we're on, and get the 3 points again. Like I said, I don't care how we do it anymore. I just want to keep winning, because if we can go into that next international break, winning at Burnley, winning at Slavia Prague, winning at Sunderland, and obviously Tottenham coming up next, what a huge position we could be in if we are able to rack up the points. Because I think all the other teams now, sort of who you'd expect to be up there, I think they're all playing each other over the next few weeks. So again, just a really good chance now for us to kind of solidify that top spot and hopefully open up a bit more of a gap. And I'd expect us to start with the 3 points at Burnley.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is going to be a tough game, always is at Turf Moor, but we should have enough about us, especially with the rest that the players got in the midweek, with the full first team, apart from Eze obviously getting. But I think as well, it's very different for us. We've got the defensive solidity, but you've got the quality in players like Eze, Trossard. Gyökeres is going to be a handful again. Look, the goals will come for him. But again, I expect this is a game where he will get opportunities. It's now for him to score. So I'm looking forward to this game. But Joe, why don't we wrap this into the predictors game and see what we think about the score? So obviously, let's go back to last week, where I believe I've come off very handsomely. Yeah,
you have, mate. You had a very good week last week. You got so obviously the week before I got 35, which was our top score so far, and you've matched that, mate, with your score last week, 35 points.
Lovely,
got a couple of spot on ones there. So the gap that had opened up has now been closed, and we are back within touching this. I think it's 5 points now, the gap. So it's swinging around about, mate. It's all to play for again. So let's rattle through these.
I love it. Yeah.
So first one we've got is Palace at home to Brentford.
Even though Brentford got the win last week against Liverpool, I still think Palace look a very, very good side. And I'm going to go with a Palace 2-1 win.
Of course you are. Palace
Now, of course
2-1.
I am. What else am I going to do?
London derby. Palace playing well. Brentford are doing quite well at the moment. I'm gonna go for a 2-2, I think. I fancy this to be a 2-2 draw. London derby.
Okay, interesting.
Saturday afternoon in the sunshine, hopefully. Could be an interesting one.
Okay.
Right. Next one is Nottingham Forest at home to Manchester United.
Sean Dyche versus Amorim. I hate this, but Man United starting to look reasonably decent and find their feet. I got to continue my hate watch. I got to back Nottingham Forest because I can't stand this. I want that dude to keep that hairdo for. I wanted to get to. Is it 4? What's the hair count at the moment? Is he on 4
we're on
or
3
3?
or 5.
It's 3, isn't it?
I think we're at 3. So he only needs 2 more and he's there.
To get to 4, I think Man United might. Look, I'm gonna. Do you know what? My hate watch. My levels hate watch. I'm gonna say Man United win this 3-2. But who have they got next? Who Man United got next? I'm just looking because I don't want that dude to cut his hair. They have got. They got Tottenham next. Yeah, they won't win that. Tottenham are bad, but they ain't that bad. So yeah, I'm going. Yeah, this is Man United will win here. I think it's going to be a 3-2. But then Tottenham next.
I think it's going to be a 3-1 United. I think Forest they're still trying to find their way. And it's going to take Sean Dyche time to kind of get his kind of stamp on that team, if you like. So I think that'll be a United win because they've won a few games. And to be fair to him, for all his stick, Amorim, he's done quite well this month. He's obviously got the win at Liverpool. And yeah, they've had a obviously win at Chelsea as well. So they've had a few good results, but hopefully, then like Sean Dyche will sort that out.
Okay.
Burnley at home to the Arsenal. Yeah.
Arsenal. Which one do we go with? What do you go with? I am going to go for a 3-1 Arsenal. I got belief. I think Victor Gyökeres is going to get something here. I think Eze is going to get something here, and I think Saka's going to get something here.
I'm amazed you've given Burnley a goal, and I'm going 2-0 because I think it would be another nice. I think it's be another kind of game where there's not a lot of sort of flair and talking point, but it'll be a nice, solid Arsenal. Just get the job done, move on to next week. 2-0. Thanks for coming. Next one, Brighton at home to Leeds.
Oh, you're just breaking up there, Joe. I can't hear you properly.
Sorry, Brighton at home to Leeds is the next one.
Leeds. Oh, Brighton home Albion. I think Brighton. I think Brighton are good enough to win this one. I think Leeds have been okay, and they've got a few good results, but I still think Brighton have enough quality. I am going to go with a 2-1 to Brighton.
2-1 to
Brighton.
2-1 home win. Okay. Yeah, I mean Leeds have been doing okay, but again, I think Brighton will probably be a bit too strong for them. I'm going to go Danny Welbeck to continue his outstanding form.
Yeah, I think Welbeck's been in a decent form, hasn't he?
I'm going to go 3-1 Brighton for me.
Okay.
Fulham at home to Wolves.
Fulham are going to win this one again. Wolves are destined for the drop. They've got no luck. They brought it back to 2-2 against Burnley and then got done in the last minute. It's not going to happen. You know when you've got your luck's out, your luck is out, and their luck is out right now. I don't know why Vita Pereira's still there. He should be sacked already.
I think he will be soon.
And Postecoglou got sacked for how he's still there is baffling me. I think this is going to be a 2-0 Fulham.
Funny that, mate, because I said exactly the same in mine. So we've both gone 2-0. I think it's just got that kind of score written all over it. This has been an interesting one. Tottenham at home to Chelsea.
Chelsea are not that great either. I mean, they lost to Sunderland in the last one. Tottenham are at home. I think this is going to be a draw. I'm going to go with a 2-2.
2-2. Chelsea are very all over the place. Tottenham are... I'm going to go 2-1 to Spurs, I think. I think at home, Thomas Frank, I think Spurs have got a bit more about them. Chelsea seem very up and down at the moment. We'll probably get someone sent off at some point. So I think
don't say that, Joe.
I'm hoping that this will kind of, the gods will be like, let's get Joe back and make Chelsea win, which will be fine. Right, mate, the next game, Liverpool versus Villa.
Does the hate watch continue? I think it does. I can see Villa getting something here. I'm going to go for a 1-1, I think.
1-1.
I think Liverpool are going to struggle again.
Similar thoughts to you, but I think there could be more goals, so I'm going to go for a 2-2.
Ooh,
I think it could be goals.
But Liverpool to continue the hate watch continues?
I hope so, mate. Long may it continue.
Okay.
West Ham at home to Newcastle.
Yeah, West Ham are struggling. I think it's going to be a struggle for Nuno as well. Do you know what the problem is? It's not the manager, I don't think. I think it's now down to personnel and the poor nature of the players they've got there. There's so many poor players. I think Newcastle will win this 2-0.
It's exactly what I was going to say. Okay, so we're not.
Poor.
I'm going to go 3-0. Just so we're not doing
bad.
Anything.
Just as bad, isn't it?
Yeah, I can't see West Ham doing anything in that game, to be honest.
Yeah.
This is a really interesting game. Man City against Bournemouth.
Yeah, this is really interesting. It's our rivals, isn't it?
Yeah. Title rivals.
If we win that Burnley on the weekend, we're going to be watching this and go, more points dropped. If it was any other year, I would have said Bournemouth would have no chance. But I really like Iraola, and the news that he is being looked at by Chelsea is a hammer blow to me, because if he goes Chelsea, he will do very well there. He's such a good... I think Bournemouth are going to get something out of this. I think it's going to be a 2-2.
2-2?
Because I think Haaland will score, because Haaland does score. He scored against Villa, it's just that it was offside, but he will get a goal.
I'm going to go one better and predict a 2-1 Bournemouth victory.
Oh, shots fired!
Generally, I think Bournemouth have been outstanding this year, and City haven't really ripped up any trees, and so I think Bournemouth will fancy their chances going up there with the way they play.
Okay.
So, yeah,
interesting.
I'm hoping for another great weekend for us, mate. But
interesting.
The game to finish off the weekend is Sunderland at home to Everton.
This is interesting because obviously we play Sunderland the weekend afterwards. So I'm hoping for a Moisey to start injuring a few players, maybe to start exerting themselves. Because I thought against who did they play last? Who did Everton play last week? It was a really poor showing by Everton.
Spurs, wasn't it?
Tottenham. Spurs. I thought they were really poor against Spurs in terms of they didn't take their chances. I still think Sunderland are doing very well. At the same light, they look very good. I think it's going to be a 2-1 to Sunderland. Yeah,
I think the same, mate. Sunderland have a really, really good sort of start to the season. You've gone 2-1. Do I match up with you 2-1? It stinks of a 2-1. So yes, I'm going 2-1 as well. They are in. The scores are locked into the supercomputer, and hopefully another hate watch weekend. But we shall. Next time we're on, we shall run them through again and we'll see where we stand.
Yes, we will. Joe, thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We're going to wrap it up here. If you do like the content, please do consider subscribing to us if you have not done so already on Spotify, Apple. Check out our YouTube, check out our TikToks. We're going to keep bringing the content. We're loving it at the moment as Arsenal are, delivering for us. But for now, thank you very much. We'll catch you on the next one of Red Lines Half Spaces. Bye for now.